Hello everyone, I am back with another video. Finally, I know I've been gone for a while. Today I'm going to show you how to make a double pinwheel block, so let's get started. So I have a piece of print here and a background piece. These are both 7.5-inch square, and then I have two floral prints. These are measuring 7-inch square. And these will all need to be cut into different pieces. So these two I will stack together because they're going to be cut exactly the same. These are the 7-inch squares, so whichever color you have chosen for 7-inch, just lay them together. You could do them one at a time, but I prefer to do it like this. It just goes a little bit faster and saves me a little bit of time. So I'm just going to cut these on the diagonal. So I'm just going to very carefully lay my ruler on there and then very slowly cut. I have found when I try to cut too fast, it tends to slip and then I make a mistake and I sometimes run out of fabric and that sucks. So just take your time. So you should have 4 triangles of the print, of the floral print. Now for these two 7.5-inch squares, they are both going to be cut the same way as well, but they will be cut into quarter square triangles. So again, I'm just going to very carefully line them up and lay them together. We don't want one shifted because then our cuts won't be accurate. So this one we need to make 2 diagonal cuts. So I'm going to go very slow here again. I don't want my fabric to shift around too much while I am cutting because then my pieces won't be the correct size. And since I took this fabric from my scrap boxes, there is no extra. So if I make a mistake here, I gotta change everything. This is just going to be for my scrap quilt again. I really need to get started on sewing that together, and I'm hoping to do a video on that soon, so stick around for that. So we need to cut it on the diagonal twice, so cut an X, and then we're going to end up with 4 of our purple and 4 of our background of our quarter square triangles, if that makes sense. And now for the laying out, I don't know how to explain it really, but I will show you how to do it. And one tip I will tell you, if I'm working on a block that I'm following a YouTube video on, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to remember it and I don't want to constantly go back to the video, I will just take a screenshot of what it looks like once it's laid out, and then I can just refer back to that photo. That's just a little something that I do, and if you want to take a screenshot of it once I have it all laid out, then you'll have a nice little reference photo for looking back on just till you get the hang of it because that's what I do. So we're just going to lay out each unit here, and one little tip I do have is for your quarter square triangles, sorry. The purple ones or your darker print are going to be in the center always, and your background is always going to be to the outside of the block, if that makes sense. That's just a little something to help you remember how to lay it out. And with these pinwheel blocks, it is very easy to get things turned around because just by placing this block like this, automatically we've already lost our one pinwheel. So just make sure that you are being careful when you're laying them out so that you do end up getting the block to look the way you want it. Apparently I haven't done this in a while and I can't talk anymore. So now that we have all of our pieces cut and everything laid out, we are going to start sewing all of our units together. And I'm going to start with my quarter square triangles, and I'm going to take my background and lay it on top of my darker color, and right sides together, and making sure everything's lined up. And if you're anything like me and you might accidentally sew on the wrong side, I like to put a little clip there just so that I know that that is the seam that I need to be sewing and that I don't sew it on the wrong spot and then I have a wonky looking piece that does not work. I'm just going to take these over to the sewing machine and then sew them with a 1/4 inch seam, and then I will come back and show you the next step. I have mine all done and I have them all pressed. I press these seams open. You can press them to the dark side. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it. So now we're just going to take these units and we're going to lay them back in the way that I had originally laid them out, making sure that our darker purple is more to the center and not getting these pieces mixed up either because apparently my kids were in here and shifted them around, but that's okay. We figure it out. We double check before we sew. So once we have these all laid out, we just need to start sewing the next step, which is taking these quarter square triangle units and then sewing them with a 1/4 inch seam to the other half square triangles. And this is going to give us our little units. And I have these seams on the top side when I'm sewing, just so that those seams don't flip over and under while I'm sewing and end up having a big bulky spot there. That's why I like having those seams on the top. But once we have them all sewn together and given a good press, and I squared these up to 6.5-inch square just to make sure that everything would fit together because things did shift a little bit and it wasn't 100%. But now we just need to sew this together like we would a normal 4-patch. Super simple. But if you do like these kind of videos, I would really appreciate it if you would hit the like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Like I said, I'm just going to sew this with a 1/4 inch seam into a 4-patch, and then I will show you what the finished product looks like. So here the block is, it's all done. It's super cute, and this would look great all on its own if you made a whole bunch of these in different colors and different shades with different prints, and then make a nice big quilt with it. But I'm just going to use this for my scrap quilt. But that's all I have for you today. Thanks for stopping by, and until next time.